As a kid, I always loved games that had gambling. From slot machines in Pokemon Fire Red to recently doing scratch-offs and web fishing. $10 million. What? When it comes to Balatro, it may be the perfect game. Sometimes you watch your number go up, and other times you crash and burn. But something I realized is that less than 1% of people have 100% completed this game. So I had to wonder, how hard could this possibly be? I mean, this game has 15 different decks, 20 challenge modes, and 150 jokers to unlock. This may seem extremely egotistical, but it seems really easy to 100%, right? So I'd sign my soul away to Jimbo and start this 100% with this tutorial. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand how to play the game of Balatro. This is our score. You want this number to be higher than this number. And this could be done by playing towards poker hands using jokers and enhancements that synergize well with a build. Unfortunately, I did not get the memo that you actually want to play good poker hands, and despite my best efforts, I'd lose on the tutorial. Okay, I did not cook. Oh my god. This would continue on for some time until I finally had a run going. Sure, I was spamming pairs, but since I had jokers that synergized well with them, I managed to beat Ante 4 and claim my first achievement, Ante Up. Hold on, wait. Oh, and I got my first achievement, Ante Up. Huge. I would then gain my second achievement shortly after. But to even unlock the majority of achievements in this game, I need to reach Ante 8 first. Now, it isn't too difficult when a joker lineup like this, along with a level 10 3 of a kind that knocked out 2 achievements, can reach Ante 8, but now the only other achievement to unlock is to beat Ante 8's final boss and complete a Balatro run, where we're given the Crimson Heart that disables a joker by every hand that's played. Look, my joker lineup may be bad, but I'm sure I can score at least 100,000 points. I feel like there's gonna be a lot more where that came from. Anyways, after 7 more hours of playtime, run after run after run, I would finally get my first win on Balatro, but wouldn't get the achievement. Now, why is that, you may ask? Well, I recorded a Balatro multiplayer video a couple hours prior to that win. And in that video, I made sure to disable all of my achievements, so that way I would not be getting any offhanded achievements while playing a modded run. So that meant I needed to win another Balatro run so I could unlock all of the achievements that I've missed out. And on top of that, I would need to do it on a harder difficulty, Red Stake. Now, the game presents us with a variety of decks, but it also presents us 8 stakes to go along with them, each harder than the last. Red Stake makes it so small blinds give no reward money. Now, this may not seem like a lot in context, but with the lack of money, runs will become a lot more difficult. And with me having to do 8 stakes on 15 different decks, I would need to win a total of 120 Balatro runs to 100% each deck. But to even get to that point, I needed to complete Red Stake. Now, going into it, I knew generally what I needed to win a Red Stake run, but what I did not expect was 2 legendary jokers. For context, legendary jokers have a 1 in 1,000 chance of appearing in soul cards. And this Tribule has a polychrome effect, making it even rarer than that. As you can expect, I beat this run rather easily, but unfortunately, for some ungodly reason, it wasn't done on Red Stake. And the odds of me finding a run like this are extremely low. Although, that's kind of the point of the game. There are thousands of different possibilities for each run and each joker to be good. Like Throwback, for example. This joker is widely regarded as pretty bad by the community due to its ability of only gaining 0.25 times molt for every blind skipped, but with the build I already had, it covered all of my bases to completely decimate the Cerulean Bell and skip as many times as I wanted. Look, this 100% wasn't just about me beating the game as optimal as possible. I wanted to use every deck and joker to its fullest. While Throwback is considered as a really bad joker, I had a great time using it and it made me enjoy this joker so much more. The same cannot be said about Castle. I hate Castle. It is so dangerously bad, and not in a fun way like Throwback. See, Castle gains 3 chips for every suit card that's discarded, and there are so many better options. It's ridiculous. It's not even like a fun joker either. It just sucks. Nothing else. I hate Castle to my core. Anyways, with that done, I've unlocked over 100 different jokers, meaning that I now have access to over 5 different decks of cards. But before that, let me go ahead and explain interest within Balatro. Trust me, it'll matter. Every $5 you have in Balatro, you'll get $1 worth of interest. This is limited to $25, but there are vouchers to increase that limit. Simple, right? Now throw that all away because Green Deck gets rid of that concept completely. Instead of having interest for every hand or discard left by the end of the round, you'll get $1 or $2 for each. Now, beating White Stake on this deck was relatively easy, but Gold Stake Green Deck would be a completely different mountain to climb. And then there's Black Deck, the objectively worst deck in the game. Instead of having 4 hands and 2 discards, Black Deck drops you down to 3 hands and 2 discards in replacement of a 6th Joker slot. Sounds pretty good, right? Well, you're wrong. Please remember Black Deck, I'll be coming back to it later, and trust me, this deck made me want to destroy my keyboard. Then we have Yellow Deck, which starts you off with $10 instead of 4, Magic Deck that starts you off with the Crystal Ball voucher and 2 Fools to go along with them, and Nebula Deck, which limits your consumable slot to 1, but you have the Telescope voucher. I played all of these decks multiple times, beating Red Stake again and again until I'd finally unlock not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7 different achievements. Thank God. Totaling 11 achievements and 127 Jokers across the board is probably good enough to start chasing for the high stakes achievement. Now, to even get to Gold Stake, we do need to go ahead and get past all the other stakes. Green Stake provides a new challenge in increasing the scaling for each ante. So instead of the final blind being 100,000 score, it's now 200,000 score. I'd use this time on Green Deck to get ahead on some achievements that I needed to do. Starting off with getting 5 vouchers by the end of Ante 4, finally scoring more than 1,000,000 chips in one hand, and I got another achievement. Yippee! Ooh, a deck unlock. Oh, that deck looks awesome. What are we talking about? And then scoring 100 mil in the same run shortly after. But now it's time for the midpoint of the high stakes achievement, Black Stake. Black Stake introduces the concept of Eternal Jokers, meaning once you get them, there's no selling out of them. Now, the natural conclusion would be to pick up good Eternal Jokers like Blueprint, Brainstorm, but sometimes you're not given that choice and you need to survive. I'm gonna level with you. Regardless of how I just described it, Black Stake was probably the easiest so far. Like, yes, I had some really bad runs at times, definitely some runs that I should have won, but I managed to build a Shoot the Moon build, and with an Eternal Brainstorm to end things off, I would score more than enough to claim my 15th achievement mid-stakes. Now at this point we have 15 achievements done in this game and have unlocked 138 Jokers. The next stake I would need to beat is Blue Stake. The debuff itself is pretty simple, -1 discard. This debuff sucks a lot. Whether you're looking for a flush or a straight to trigger your scoring Jokers, or if you're looking for your king or queen for more held and hand related builds, it's pretty much game ending if you don't hit the correct cards. And having 1 less discard makes life so much more difficult. I would spend hours worth of attempts trying to beat Blue Stake, only to be met with this red screen and this guy saying a whole lot of nothing. I needed a break, so why not put a pin in that for now and set my sights on something different. Now, there are 5 different achievements across the game that at first glance wouldn't have much correlation between each other, but I can actually go out and unlock all of these achievements in the same day. Starting with the Royal achievement, where I need to play a Royal Flush. Now, it's not that it was difficult to find a Royal Flush, I just never went out of my way to do it until right now. What I really needed were gold cards to go along with this mine build, and 1 Red Seal King later, I'd fix my deck into making hundreds of dollars per round, leading to me unlocking the Nest Egg achievement in no time. Now, playing high cards with steel cards is most optimal for this build, but I'm actually going to play 5 Glass Kings. That way I can unlock Flush 5 and shatter 2 glass cards, unlocking both Astronomy and Shattered. And with me breaking so much glass, I'd thin down my deck to 20 cards, unlocking the final achievement, Tiny Hands, taking my achievement counter from 15 to 20 in only 1 run. Then when I got back to Blue Stake, I managed to find another mine build along with another Shoot the Moon. This Joker is also considered to be not that good due to its cousin being, well, light years better. But Shoot the Moon can also score a lot. I managed to reach Ante 10 by the end of this run, scoring well into the millions. Yet unfortunately, blind scaling would be too steep for me to climb further than Ante 11. But now we have access to Purple Stake. Now there are only 2 stakes left before gold, and purple increases the scaling even further, taking the score requirement of the final boss from 200,000 to 400,000. But there is one specific boss on Ante 8 called the Violet Vessel. This boss blind raises the score requirement from 400,000, which is already a lot, to 1.2 million. The overall faster scaling from purple stake would really start to show in my future runs, but for this run, my build was unbelievably scuffed, yet still was able to score a very high amount. I had more than enough to score 400,000 with my final hand, and I was extremely confident leading into Ante 8 until I rolled the Violet Vessel. Yeah, I'm okay. Now, to be completely honest, I thought I would lose to the Violet Vessel because I could not score 1.2 million, but completely forgot about the negative Mr. Bones that I had in my setup. This Joker prevents death if you've reached at least 25% of the boss's requirement. But regardless, I would clear past purple stake, and as I was on a hot streak, jump right into orange stake. Orange stake introduces the concept of perishable jokers, so instead of them lasting forever like eternal jokers, they literally die after 5 rounds. And let me tell ya, runs will become extremely awkward when your carry joker becomes unusable and you have literally nothing else. Orange stake will be so much more difficult than any other stake by far. Whether it was the deck fixing for my hand, playing way too greedy at the start and losing instantly, or even just getting unlucky in general. I lost so many times. But regardless of how many times I lost, it was still no match for the jobless 18-year-old with nothing better to do. Seriously though, I really do put a lot of time into these videos, and it's a nice feeling knowing that you, the viewers, sat down and spent your time watching little old me. I really would appreciate it if you liked and subscribed, just so I know that you're enjoying it so far. But now with every other stake defeated, all that's left for me is gold stake. Now, gold stake alone adds rental jokers, meaning that every round you have a joker with that sticker, you lose $3 on the spot. This makes gaining money and interest in general a terrible process, but that's not the only thing because it applies every other stake's previous debuff. This is the hardest stake in Balatro, and trust me, it's no easy feat. Every single time I thought I had a run going, nope, I would lose shortly after. I would do run after run after run and would lose constantly. It was so frustrating having an amazing start but then crumbling shortly after. Until I finally did end up having a run where I came close to Ante 8. In fact, I was closing in on beating this run. And even with the wall on Ante 7, I was for sure going to be able to beat it. Until, for some ungodly reason, I played a high card instead of playing a flush. I still could not explain to you why I made that decision, but regardless, I would lose again. But something I didn't realize is that I was getting closer and closer to my winning run, and it would come in the form of a Photo Chad Baron run. At first glance, these two builds may seem conflicting. You want to keep all of your kings with Baron, but you also want to play a lot of cards with Photo Chad. But if your high card is even slightly good enough, it will be re-triggered by the Photo Chad and then multiplied by the Baron and Mime. All of this to say, with an optimal hand, you're going to be scoring well into the millions. All the pieces were coming together for this gold stake run, and then I found my last piece of the puzzle, Brainstorm. Now all that was left was to play my high card and get my 21st achievement, high stakes, win a run on at least gold stake difficulty. Now this win was a stake in the progress that I made in this 100%. Every win, every joker, every moment led up to this. But I still wasn't satisfied. We had so much more left in this 100% to complete. So I'd start chipping away at Ghost Deck. Ghost Deck allows spectral cards to appear in shop rather than just being in packs, while also giving a free hex card. As I was climbing 2 gold stake with Ghost Deck, I took this time to also knock out some more achievements. Big Hands requires you to have 80 or more cards in your deck. Wait, but how am I supposed to do that exactly? Opening up standard packs is going to take forever, and getting DNAs encrypted is already hard enough. Is what I thought at first until I got a certificate and a hologram and won the run. At this point, it's become common for me to knock out achievements while playing harder stakes, just because it makes things so much faster. But one achievement I could not do this on was Speedrunner. Win a run in 12 rounds or fewer. For reference, the average number of rounds to win a Balatro game is around 20 to 24. So for this achievement, I believe that Anaglyph deck would be best. I did initially do a ton of runs on Plasma deck due to its ability to balance chips and molt, but those runs did not end up going too well. I thought Anaglyph deck would be good because I was already skipping for tags anyways, and with an extra double tag at the end of the round, I will be getting more out of my skips. And on my first attempt on Anaglyph deck, I managed to throw some really good tags, leading to the anti-8 boss, where I actually got pretty close to losing until some lucky cards hit. All skill, by the way. There's only 8 more achievements left, and my next one is to score a flush with only using wild cards. Easy. Next is win a run without re-rolling once. Alright, sounds pretty simple enough. I'll just get a win and, So, after making sure to not do the same thing again, I'd get my 25th achievement, now only having 6 left. Yes! Okay. We got the reroll achievement, if I can find it. Yeah, right here. Now I only have 6 more achievements left, but when I tell you there is so much more content in this game that I need to complete, if you've 100%ed Balatro before, you know that these 4 achievements will take longer than the other 27 combined, including beating Goldstake with every single Joker. So, we'll get to that eventually. For now, we need to discover every voucher, and the only one I haven't discovered is Illusion. Now, to even unlock Illusion, I need to first get Magic Trick, and would find it on only the 3rd ante. So with the early start, surely I can find Illusion in a similar amount of time. Until I ended up dying on ante 6, and on top of that, it would take me an extra 4 hours, spent over 2 recordings, to find not only Magic Trick, but Illusion as well. Yes, finally. As I was looking for Illusion, I was also able to unlock every single Joker except for 2, Chicot and Perkio. Remember how I disabled all achievement progress during Balatro multiplayer? Well, it also stopped the progression I made, including this Perkio. Regardless, I need to go back one more time and open so many soul cards. I kept getting dupes of dupes and dupes until I finally would find a Chicot, leaving only Perkio. And let me tell you, this felt impossible, and I was getting unbelievably frustrated. But eventually, 2 months after I started playing this game, since I started this video, that search would come to a close, and I would finally unlock Perkio, unlocking all 150 Jokers, where I then unlocked the first completionist achievement, the first out of 3. It felt amazing having 100% of my collection, having all 150 Jokers, every spectral card, finding everything that this game had to offer. I was so excited to continue this 100%, and I felt like I could see the finish line. But that excitement would be killed instantly as soon as I saw the next task, Completionist Plus. Look, for anyone who's 100% of Balatro before, you know that this is already not the fastest task. Even the fastest speedrun for every single deck on Goldstake has taken 4 hours, and that was only done a month ago. But since I'm not a speedrunner, it took me 1 whole month to complete this. This achievement requires you to win 120 games of Balatro, including Goldstake on every single deck. Currently, I have 2 decks that are 100% done, so why not go back to the first 2 decks, Red Stick deck and Blue Stick deck. Both of these decks aren't game-changing and are pretty straightforward in their abilities, each of them giving either 1 extra hand or 1 extra discard. They aren't too different from the base game, so it really just comes down to finding good Jokers and just playing well. For Red deck, I play towards Spade lucky cards with an Oops All 6 so I can actually hit my lucky cards. I was also constantly adding cards for my holograms so I could at least have some times molt in the back. But funny enough, I still almost lost because I wanted to play towards a Polychrome Glass 8 card. For no reason, I absolutely would have won without it. But thankfully, the game saved me by giving me all the heart cards that I needed to win. That was unnecessarily close, unlike Blue deck, which went significantly better. With a PhotoChat Ancient Joker build, I was able to build into multiple wildcard jacks. Wildcards can be allowed to play with any suits, so it synchronizes really well with Ancient Joker. This run will be significantly easier than Red deck, and with a Flush 5, I'd complete 4 out of 15 decks. Now, there are 15 decks, and I won't be covering every single one because some are either boring or I just don't have the footage for them. I'm looking at you, Nebula deck. I don't like you. But I really wanted to give some decks that I haven't really talked about some shine, starting with Abandoned Deck. Abandoned Deck removes all face cards, so now you only have number cards. This makes it easier to find the hands that you want to play, but you pretty much have to play as if face cards never existed. Meaning no sock and buskin, no trib, no photograph. All of these jokers that you would usually take within your runs don't work by regular means. Sure, you can get a pareidolia, but that's different. After only a few attempts of playing this deck, I found this joker called Ride the Bus. Ride the Bus gains 1 molt for every hand that does not contain a face card. Again, this joker usually isn't great, but when you're on the deck without any face cards, it's pretty much guaranteed molt every single hand that's played. Not to mention, it's foil, so that's an extra 50 chips that go along with it. I'd spend a lot of the early game scaling the bus while grinding money with this checklist until I found a campfire. This joker gains 0.25 times molt for every item sold, but the catch is, it resets after every ante. Getting past the early antes was super easy considering how much money I had to buy and sell things, but every single time the campfire reset, I would be at risk of dying immediately, to the point where the small blind low-key became the scariest blind out of all of them. With the limited deck size, I was able to find my winning hand easily. It was mainly just about having enough score to win with it. The score was getting really tight, and if I couldn't find anything to go along with this campfire, I was going to lose. Until I got a deja vu adding a red seal to my holographic 4. With this and an ecto that I ripped immediately as soon as I saw it, which actually could have ended my run now looking back on it if it hit the wrong thing. I was able to lap the score where even the Violet Vessel could not compete. Let's send her off for the people in the back. Oh my god, and Bloodstone's working. We know what time it is, baby. Go, Bloodstone. Oh my god. Yes! That was such a difficult run. Then there's Erratic Deck. Erratic Deck took a while, mainly because I kept re-rolling for a cool seed rather than just playing the game. But after a while, I got a seed that I was happy with. On Erratic Deck, finding things like 4s and 5s of a kind is actually really easy. So it really just comes down to further fixing your deck and getting good jokers. Just like every deck. I'm noticing this is kind of the same pattern, but bear with me. But yeah, it just comes down to finding good jokers and... Oh my god, not you! But the trio on the other hand is an amazing joker, which would carry me until I found a holographic hologram right after. I would then start to thin down my deck while also simultaneously adding cards so I could further scale my hologram. But it didn't really matter because I ended up finding a blueprint and then a legendary joker right after. Oh my god. What am I about to find? Okay, Yorick. That would later be sold for an Oops All 6. I don't regret my decisions. But shortly after, I would get my win on Erratic Deck and it would be completed. Painted Deck was actually a deck I completely forgot about until I started doing gold stake for it. I was able to make so much money due to the extra hand size in the first couple antes. That extra money would help me find multiple blue seals and I would start to play 2 pairs rapidly, scaling it up so far where it pretty much carried the early antes. This face card based run was pretty much perfect. A red seal king to go along with a photograph and a ton of blue seals to build into whatever I wanted. But one common enemy of all face card runs had to rear its ugly head, the plant. I was stressing. I needed to find something quick, whether it was a luchador or... I don't even know. I think only a luchador could save me at this point. My build was seemingly reliant on face cards. It was the strongest thing I could play. But with one ectoplasm, I was able to make room in my joker slot to find a blueprint. All I needed now was some steel cards, which I copied a ton of earlier in the run. And by then, all I needed to do was play a hand that would be 100% debuffed. And we already won. To beat the most difficult boss for a run like this in only a single hand. This was by far more difficult than the anti-8 boss, which all it did was shuffle my jokers. All I needed to do was find my blueprint, copy either my photograph, my constellation, or the family, and I would score more than enough to beat Gold Stake Painted Deck. And that's Painted Deck. With around half of my decks completed on Gold Stake, I do the rest except for 2. Green Deck and Black Deck. But I have an issue. When I went through the recordings of these runs, I realized that I either had a short clip or zero footage of me doing these two decks. These short clips couldn't describe the amount of time these two decks took, and I didn't just not want to include them in the video. So that's why I booted up Balatro one last time to play through both green deck and black deck. Starting with green deck, as I said earlier, having zero interest makes the game's playstyle a lot weirder. You're focused on using as least hands and discards as possible. Like, yeah, you'll usually want to win in the first hand anyway, but this deck requires that in order to make money. It gets to the point where if you don't win in the first hand and you own multiple rental jokers, you might as well file for bankruptcy. Oh, sucks to suck. You can't afford Brainstorm in the next shop. Oh, you did? Fantastic! Congratulations! You're already dead because you didn't have a joker that gives any chips or molt. After a while, I started to understand how to play green deck because I've been playing it for a bit now, so now I just needed to find a winning build. I thought it would be this build considering it had so many good jokers, including a negative hanging Chad, but since they were all rentals, that dream would be shot down rather quickly. That being said, it only took me an hour to find an Eternal Riffraff that 9 out of 10 times I would not take. And that Eternal Riffraff turned out to be the best decision ever. It will lead to my best run by far, spawning in a Gross Michael on Ante 1, breaking it, and then spawning in a Cavendish on Ante 2. It was all I needed to survive a couple of antes, but obviously the game had other plans when they gave me a Polychrome Brainstorm and a Dusk back to back. I was able to freely fix my deck without worry while scoring millions, I think. I can't tell because I had the worst camera placement ever. And with me finding a blueprint late into the run, all I needed to do now was strengthen a Polychrome 10 I had into a Jack, and then find a Deja Vu to use on this Polychrome Jack. And you can tell I had a pretty normal reaction to all of this happening so quickly. To say this wasn't one of my best gold stake runs is an understatement. It was by far my most enjoyable, and by the end of the run, I was so sad that I couldn't take this run to endless. This run was so good, man. It was so good. God, I love this run. It also made me look at black deck a bit differently. Look, I knew black deck was going to be difficult, but I couldn't imagine it taking much longer than green deck, right? I am here 6 hours later and I am suffering. I truly thought this would have taken 2 hours at max, but turns out if you have one less hand and the ability to not get a single king if your life depended on it, it makes the game a lot more difficult. Black deck gold stake requires you to make up so much money that you miss out without the extra hand. The game literally throws you down a hill and it's your job not to snowball into another loss. As if the game wasn't rage baiting me enough, it hit me with this goddamn joker. I don't want this. I mean, yeah, sure I picked it up, but that's because I was already going to lose. Might as well take the joker I hate the most down with me too. Thank God, to be honest. I hate Castle. But after so long, I'd finally find my footing. With an early Lucky Cat and a Cavendish, it allowed for my molt to be completely covered. And then I found a Brainstorm and a Car Sharp. It was getting to the point where I was so close to beating black deck. I reached Ante 8 with my score pretty much covered. It would be really difficult for me to lose this run. All I needed to do was have my final send-off, find that one hand that could win. I'm so close to winning. All I need to do is draw one more full house and... Oh, well, I'm only 50k off. I'm sure I can definitely do that, especially if I hit one of these lucky cards, right? Please just end this. No! Oh, no. I went from having one of the best runs I've ever had on green deck to suffering loss after loss on black deck. You can quite literally see the time go from day to night. Obviously, I haven't suffered enough. I can't believe I'm spending so much time on this game and even more on this specific run. But fortunately, this would be the last run that I would do. After finding a constellation, I would scale it up a ton until I found an invisible joker, copying the constellation and then finding a fortune teller and Cavendish right after. And with a Brainstorm to top it all off, I wouldn't be short on score this time, but instead beat black deck gold stake in only one hand. Let's send it. This is the optimal hand. Oh my god, and of course Space Joker hits. Hell yeah, man. We are completely done. I was already done, but I just wanted to get that footage just to say that I completed both green deck and black deck, not once, but twice, capping off the Completionist Plus achievement, win with every deck on Gold Stake difficulty. Now, as I said earlier, this is re-recorded footage, so you may wonder, what actually happened to the Completionist Plus achievement? This. Yeah. I actually got Completionist Plus while doing Plasma Deck Gold Stake, where I found a Wii Joker and was able to copy it. So at first I was really sad that I couldn't find the footage for Completionist Plus Plasma Deck, because this run was so utterly ridiculous that I really wanted to show it. But guess what I found in the midst of editing? The full run on display. So I'm going to include it just to show how genuinely ridiculous this run was. After copying the second Wii Joker, I had a total of 500 chips across both of them. Now, Plasma Deck isn't all sunshine and rainbows. Plasma Deck also doubles the scaling of each ante, meaning that these blinds were catching up very quickly. I love Wii Joker, but there was no way in hell I was going to beat ante 8. I was struggling on ante 6. That would be until I found another invisible Joker. I'm becoming convinced that this run is scripted and I'm not actually aware of it. Completionist Plus requires so much skill and experience to get past Gold Stake on every single deck. Hell, you just saw me struggle for hours to beat Black Deck, and that was for the second time. This is ridiculous. I'm not even playing that well and the game just handed me a third Wii Joker. But since I was already making so many twos, the Wii Joker was just scaling rapidly. But then what is probably the worst boss blind showed up, the Violet Vessel. But instead of being 1.2 million, it's now 2.4. It truly looked like the Wii Joker run would come to an end. But then, in one of the most ridiculous runs that I have ever had, I would get a Luchador when it mattered most, lowering the score requirement from 2.4 million to 800,000. Lowering the score requirement by so much that all I needed to do was play a 4 of a kind and a high card to officially unlock Completionist Plus. I truly don't understand it either. But hey, we only have 2 more achievements left, and it looks like we're almost done. Oh yeah, challenges. And there's 20 of them. You know, it gets to the point where it feels like this game may never end. Challenge Deck is technically the 16th deck in this game, but rather than having Gold Stake or Orange Stakes or any of the different stakes, it's played on White Stake, but the catch is you have 20 different challenges to go with that deck. Now, as I said before, I already beat one of these challenges, but I still have 19 more to go. And as you probably guessed, they get so much worse as they go on. Including one challenge where you only have one hand, another challenge where you can only pick up 3 jokers, and the last challenge where you can't use any jokers at all. This is going to be the death of me. When I first downloaded Balatro, I truly didn't realize how much time I would commit to every deck, every joker, and every achievement. So if I'm gonna make a video of me 100%ing this game, I think it's a guarantee that I show every single challenge that I did in order to 100% this game, regardless of how excruciatingly painful it was. But anyways, the first challenge is the omelet. All blinds give 0 reward money now, extra hands also stop earning money, and interest no longer exists. My main source of money comes from these 5 eggs who don't do anything besides gain value. With this being the first challenge, it absolutely isn't the most difficult, but still forced me to focus on greed and making money, while also finding good jokers to survive. I had a run where I was playing towards flushes and flush 5s, specifically playing towards kings of diamonds, but got punished for playing out my seltzer before the wall. That being said, it wouldn't be too long before I got another face card run and scored way more than I needed to win. 15-minute city starts you off with a ride the bus and a shortcut, pretty much forcing me to play towards straights, which I wouldn't mind. Ride the bus was pretty good the first time I used it, and with these 2 investment tags that I got in the first ante, I pretty much started the run with $54. I will buy a flower pot, a hologram, and later a Cavendish, and with this joker lineup, it was all I needed to spam straights until I won. Neat. Rich Get Richer doesn't allow chips to exceed the amount of money I have. It does not matter. I just have a lot of mult and the amount of money I have is irrelevant. The fourth challenge, On a Knife's Edge, starts you off with an Eternal Ceremonial Dagger that is pinned to the left side of your Joker lineup. Whenever a blind is selected, it will literally kill whatever Joker is on the right of it. That being said, it gains molt for every Joker that it kills, so it can genuinely become a really good scoring Joker. I just kept my good Jokers away from the knife, and it was an easy win. X-Ray Vision makes it so there's a 1 in 4 chance that the cards that you're playing are drawn face down. Meaning playing big hands like straights, flushes, straight flushes feel impossible. That's why I just stuck to pairs until I won. Mad World gives you an Eternal Negative Pareidolia and a business card while removing interest and extra hand money. But for whatever reason, I had the best luck in the world and got a Sock and Buskin along with an Oops All 6. This challenge was pretty easy, and I will move on to Luxury Tax that lowers your hand size the more money that you have. So just spend all your money. It's funny because in the challenge where you don't want to have a lot of money, I got a negative debit card which allowed me to buy more without having to save money. The 8th challenge, Non-Perishable, makes all Jokers eternal. My first run started with me taking a Raised Fist out of desperation, and I wanted to play towards a Bloodstone Lucky Cat build, but that dream would be shut down very quickly. I would go on to have more bad runs, but as soon as I found this Eternal Madness and a Brainstorm, I knew this run would be the one. Madness gains 0.5 molt for every blind that's selected, but destroys a random Joker. But since everything is eternal, it can only gain molt and can't destroy any other Jokers, leading to me beating Ante-8 soundly. Look, I know every challenge so far has been pretty easy for me, but I'm also smart enough to know that not every challenge is like Medusa where you just have haha funny stone card. The next challenge would be Double or Nothing. Every card that's played will become debuffed after scoring. This challenge in theory is extremely difficult. I have to play my cards very carefully because the next thing you know, they're all going to be debuffed. I was playing around with different things trying to figure out what works and what doesn't until I realized something. Pairs. Pairs are probably one of the best hands for gold stake runs because they're easy to play and blue seals only make them stronger. Combining them with a Joker like Supernova along with a Constellation or any X-Molt in general, and I would have the first page of challenges complete in no time. Typecast is one of the harder challenges so far, based on its gimmick of making all Jokers eternal after Ante 4. And if you think you can use negative Jokers, it also sets all Joker slots to 0. For my first run, I had an amazing setup, a photograph, blueprint, and 2 Dusks, along with a Red Steel King. I was literally scoring 787,000 on Ante 4, and it was only going to get better. I was going to set up my deck, and well, that didn't last long. Fortunately, in my next run, I got another photograph with Hanging Chad and Sock and Buskin, just overall better support and 0 plants to stop me this time. Inflation raises the price on everything by $1 for every purchase made. The whole setup process can be a nightmare considering how many purchases you do make in a run. But hey, while everything around us may be horrible, at least the egg prices are the same. $12! As I said before, it can be difficult to work with the higher prices, but after getting another red seal and turning it into a lucky card king, I was hitting money shot after money shot, even having more than enough money to pick up a $42 egg by the end of the run. Challenge 13, Bram Poker, would give me an Eternal Vampire, an Empress, and an Emperor Tarot card, the Magic Trick voucher, and the Illusion voucher, but stops all Jokers from appearing in shops, so you can only get them from tarot cards and packs. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even notice that it took Jokers out of shops until I started writing the script. Balls. Mainly because there were no restrictions, meaning that packs were still around, so it basically made all of that irrelevant. I had a really good start where I found a Nat negative photograph and then an Ecto shortly after that I used on my vampire. I was already thinking this would be a winning run, but I guess I wasn't strong enough to beat the small blind on Ante 2. After dying for the first and last time, I would replay the challenge again and create a 5 of a kind that would, to put it bluntly, steamroll through every blind by itself. Look, I honestly wish that these challenges were a little more difficult, because it is disgustingly easy to scale a vampire build into scoring well into the millions. Sure, I've been getting lucky as well, but come on, Monolith was one of the easiest challenges yet. It gives you a negative marble Joker that adds stone cards to my deck with an obelisk to go along with it. All I had to do was just find a hologram that synchronizes perfectly with marble Joker, a brainstorm to scale it even further, and then a vampire that literally removes the effect of stone cards to give me times molt. We have a times 12 hologram, a times 3.7 vampire, a times 3.6 vampire, and an obelisk that's times 2.6. Send it off. Huh. Maybe streamer luck is real after all. I will say, Fragile was probably one of the coolest challenges thus far. It starts you off with 2 negative oops all 6s and a deck full of glass cards. My mission was to figure out how to play the game without breaking my entire deck. Now again, I got really lucky when I found a glass joker at the very start of the run. It literally benefits off of glass breaking, so come on, am I just not gonna take it? But I was also skipping blinds when I found it necessary, so I didn't break too much. That being said, at the end of the game, I found a DNA, so I really wasn't losing any cards beyond that point. And with Fragile complete, I can now take a breather knowing that I only have 5 more challenges left. Challenge 16, Blast Off. This goddamn challenge gives you an Eternal Constellation and Rocket, while limiting your Joker slots to 4 and only gives you 2 hands per round. Breathe. Dying early is common. Dying in general is common on this challenge. Now, the game gives you Planet Tycoon so you can scale your constellation faster, but it won't matter if you can't play the correct hand. I decided to set my focus on 2 pairs since they scale fast and they're pretty easy to find. As long as I could find Uranus and some blue seals, I was able to consistently feed the constellation in my 2-pair levels. I then found an Ancient Joker and a Smear Joker that I could build into, and I was scoring a lot more than I needed to beat Ante-8. But oh boy, the Crimson Heart had other plans. As soon as I got into the boss, bam, Ancient Joker was disabled. Okay, I'll just play a hand and hope it hits one of my bad jokers. Oh, it literally targeted my 2 scoring jokers, and now I'm forced to replay all 8 antes all over again. I truly hate Blast Off. It's such a nightmare challenge, and maybe that's what it's about, making the player suffer as much as possible. Regardless of how well the run was going, or if it didn't get started to begin with, this game had 0 grace for me on this challenge. That being until the unsuspected Drunkard came and saved my run. Now, all Drunkard does is give +1 discard, but when I tell you that it played such a monumental role in me winning this run, I was able to draw my blue seals so consistently, scaling up my 2-pair and constellation by so much. It was honestly ridiculous on how well it was going, and it was all thanks to this Drunkard right here. But it seems that every time I start winning with kings, this game decides to send the plant to shut me down. Thankfully, I was ready. I had glass cards, lucky cards, and a constellation that was scaled up to 5.2x molt. It might have been destiny for me to pull all the cards I needed to get past the plant, the manacle, and eventually the amber acorn. First, we're gonna play this. Let's see if it wins. It already won, and that is, oh my god. Oh my god. It took so long. I hate Blast Off so much. Hey, so I only now realized that I didn't include 5-card hand. I didn't record it either. There's no footage of it existing. So that's why I just went out and played it again. I could do it with the other challenge that I skipped over earlier, but nah. But regardless, what you're seeing right now is just like short little snips of the run. In conclusion, pairs are really good, and I won. And I am, oh wait, I forgot to do things. I'm sure it won't matter. Alright, well, I won't know what I did until... Okay, I don't think it matters. I'm just gonna play. Yeah, it did not matter. GG's. GG's. Even compared to the next challenge, Golden Needle, that gives you 1 hand per round but gives you 6 discards, it wasn't even as close to as difficult as Blast Off. And while I had one close call where I scored the exact amount required, the rest of the challenge was really easy. But now we only have 2 challenges left, what are supposed to be the hardest challenges in the game by far. So it's time for me to lock in and set my sights on Cruelty. As the name suggests, Cruelty takes away all the money that you make from both small blinds and big blinds. Now, that's a lot already, but it also minimizes your Joker slots from 5 to 3. With everything that's been done so far, I think this game only wants to prolong my suffering. I was so confused on how to go about beating Cruelty, and it was so frustrating. In one run, I had 2 photographs that could have easily led me to a free win, but since I didn't find a jack while looking for a straight, I'd just lose. I ended up getting a photo chat that cleared most antes, but yet again, I was short on score when it mattered the most. If I couldn't beat Cruelty, how in the hell was I supposed to beat the last challenge, Jokerless? But in the very end, the game decided to bless me with a legendary Joker, and then another legendary Joker, and then an invisible Joker. My luck spiked out of nowhere, and suddenly I have 2 copies of 2 different legendary Jokers. I'd like to assume that the game was tired of seeing me suffer and pretty much handed me a win on a silver platter, and I was not going to complain. And hey, we only have one more challenge left now. Jokerless. The rules of this challenge are extremely simple. Jokers no longer appear in shops. Not only do Jokers not appear in shops anymore, but they removed all methods of Jokers appearing in general. They also went and removed every anti-8 boss related to Jokers. Meaning the only way to beat this challenge is finding a way to score 300,000 against the Violet Vessel only using tarot cards and planet cards. I decided that the best hand for the job would be straights, specifically because how they scale by each level. Like every other run, I managed to build into my straights, getting past the halfway point of ante 4 with ease. Sure, I might have had a hard time finding my hand due to being unlucky, but it is so unlikely to happen again. Oh my god, oh my god, like what the actual fuck? Oh my fucking god, that's so unreal. That's actually so unreal. 4 queens! Oh my god, okay. Yeah, whatever, dude. And they have the nerve to give me the lucky card hit. Okay. Alright, well, it's only been an hour. I'm sure I can find a run like that again. You end up doing so many runs where you literally start to lose track of time. Losing again and again, and in some of the most unfortunate ways possible. At the start of this video, you're literally cheesing away, losing on ante 1 on white stick, but it's okay because you're excited to play the game. Now you're 300 hours deep into this game, ready to break your keyboard over not being able to pull the correct flowy shaped queen in time. This pain and suffering must come to an end. And shut up with that goddamn losing sound. There was even a point where I finally got my winning run. Everything was coming together, and it genuinely could have been the point where I beat Jokerless. 7 antes in, hours of gameplay put into these runs. I was more than sure that this straight could beat the Violet Vessel, much less this big blind. But it turns out I obviously had too many heart cards because I accidentally played a straight flush rather than a regular straight. Maybe Go Fish is more your speed. What even is Go Fish anyway? Go Fish is a simple game that is popular with children. My 6-year-old son, for example. I don't need to read all this. I got this. Mike, do you have any 8s? Yeah, eat it, Mike. Stupid idiot. Bill, do you have any aces? Okay, of course you don't. You're actually just useless. Bill takes a trick of aces. Dude, why is this guy... Oh my god, this guy is so weird, bro. I didn't know I was playing with pro players. Oh my days. Yup, that's what we like to see. Hold on, I'm back in the game, high key. And I ask Mike. Has any threes. Mike, you have nothing. You have nothing going for yourself. Do I have a 3? Dude, just take them. Just take them. Nice, congrats. Happy for you. Good game, Mike. Well, look, I was never a Go Fish player. I was more of a Balatro player to begin. All of these Jokerless attempts spanned over the course of 3 days, and I was suffering throughout every second of it. My mental went down the drain a long time ago, to the point where even this Polychrome 9 that could have changed my runs completely didn't bring any joy. I actually thought I was going to lose on ante 4, but I had just enough score to get by the 10,000 mark. I was getting all the tarots I needed. I was getting blue seal value and gold card value. I was able to make one of the strongest builds I could imagine in no time. And with only 3 antes left, I had more than enough score to pull this off. I even had some of the strongest cards that I could have made. I would then have to face one of the hardest bosses up to this point, the Mark. This boss blind makes all face cards drawn face down, making straights harder to find because you're literally guessing where they are. Thankfully, I managed to pull every single card required. Now all I needed to do was get past ante 7, which was honestly disappointingly easy. Like, the boss blind didn't even affect me. All I needed to do was just play a couple glass cards, and now we're finally at ante 8. I was able to clear through the small blind and big blind, but I was stressing. Because what if I don't get the exact cards that I need? My deck was good, but I was worried it wasn't going to be good enough to score 300,000. But with my final shop giving me 2 justice cards, I was able to find every single card I needed and made more than enough glass, playing the strongest hand that I could have. Now all I needed to do was score 300,000, beat ante 8, and gain my 30th achievement after beating all 20 challenges, Rule Breaker. The straight to send us off. Boom, boom, boom. Fuck yeah! After so long, finally. I hate you, Jokerless. I hate you. Now, all that's left is completionist plus. Earn a gold sticker on every single Joker, meaning I have to beat gold stake with every single Joker. Now, to be honest, completionist plus was not necessarily difficult. It was just long. So for my own sanity, rather than talking about how I beat gold stake with insert random Joker here, I'm gonna summarize it with this. Why is it that when I needed a Joker the most, it never showed up? Invisible Joker, Gross Michael, Hit the Road, all of them were so difficult to find. And that doesn't even include the runs that I lost. But with every other Joker done at this point, all I had left was Fortune Teller. Now, to avoid confusion, I did beat Gold Stake with Fortune Teller earlier, but that was re-recorded, so yeah. But after finding my eternal Fortune Teller, I knew this would be the run. 8 more antes until this game was complete. And man, I was ready to go. I have been at this for like 3 or 4 months. This may be too much Balatro consumption for any regular human being. But now, we're at the closing act. Hanging Chad, Blueprint, Wee Joker, Hologram, and Fortune Teller. All roads led to this very moment. Let's end it with a good one, man. Let's end it with a good one. Whew. Oh my god. It's finally over. Alright, where's my achievement at, man? And I wouldn't get the achievement because achievements act wonky with mods for some reason. Woo! Yay! So this is it. The last 5 set of Jokers that I'd used before I got my completionist plus achievement. A foil bull, half Joker, bootstraps, polychrome buccaneer, and throwback. Meaning, after 300 hours of gameplay, 150 Jokers, 20 challenges, and 15 different decks completed, I can confidently say that I have 100% completed Balatro. From beginning this video on White Stake to ending this video with it 100% completed, putting over 300 hours into the game, even re-recording footage that I didn't have initially, the only thing I can show for it is this. Wow. I'm never doing this again.